Hello and welcome back to the Pepperberry Magazine's production of Advocacy. We have with us Miss Johnetta R, a Liberian, a distinguished Liberian, an educator, and a vast contributor to the upliftment of Liberian youth in the past and in the present. So I'm happy to introduce to you Miss Johnetta R. Ma'am, welcome to Africa Teaching. It's an honor to have you.
It's good to be here. Thank you very much for having me. Having the association.
Yes. Well, I'll give you the opportunity to tell us about yourself. Could you please take a few moments and tell our American public about who Miss Johnetta R is?
Thank you for this opportunity to be here. I am a Liberian, even though not an American, but my background, I was born in a little place called Painesville, Liberia, and then later on to another place where my residence was in Marshall, Liberia. But after a lot of ups and downs, and with family and single mother, and when she passed, and I was with one aunt here and there. But the fact is, I stayed in the township of Marshall, or the territory of Marshall, Liberia, where I finished elementary to 8th grade. I'm saying 8th grade because, and not junior high, because I was double promoted from 8th grade to 10th grade. So I don't know what 9th grade is about. But the fact is, upon recommendation, I was recommended to go to Ricks Institute. At that time, the Liberia Baptist Missionary and Education Convention were looking for students and looking for places, even though it's mentioned that Ricks Institute was established in 1887. But of course there were no graduates during those times, but the real development, the first graduate didn't take place, the high school graduation didn't take place until 1962.
Wow.
Okay, but when I entered Ricks Institute in 1961, I entered there with already the background of certain things that I have learned from Marshall Central High School. And I already was a student of Latin. And I was also a student of Shakespeare. I was also a student of debates. I was also a student of drama.
And all of that was done in the 8th grade?
Yes, from elementary, to 8th grade. And I had very good teachers as well. And the fact is, even if there were anything else, we were there to learn during such a time, and which I took advantage of. So when I got to Ricks Institute, 1961, it was just a little one, or let's say 2 houses. The development physically was not there, but development started to take place from 1960 because the convention invited, the Liberian Baptist Convention invited the Southern Baptists to over to Liberia, and particularly the Ricks Institute, to help
The Southern Baptists from America.
From America. And with their aid and collaboration with the Liberia Baptist Convention, they really did well. See, it was not just the academic part of it, and I want people to know that the spiritual part was also there. And even with the spiritual, the biblical part, it was not at Ricks Institute that I started to learn that. I learned that where I grew up in Marshall, because from that 5 a.m. getting up and reading the Bible with the kerosene lantern or candle. So we learned, I knew a lot of verses and scriptures and you name it from all of that. So I went on with that at the Ricks Institute. In the 10th grade, I had a number of classmates, as usual, made friends. But as development went on, I was staying with one of my aunts. But because I made the grades, started making the grades, and so I was offered a scholarship to be a boarding student. When I got in the dormitory, I was one of the senior prefects, or at that time I was not the senior prefect because it's 10th grade. You had to build yourself up when you become a senior, then senior prefect. And so that started motivating me. And I knew that I had the interest in teaching, because when I studied with my classmates and I asked them questions, and when the test came, and they always asked me, well, how did you know that such questions would come? I said, well, it's just something that I thought about. And so I continued to look in that direction to be, a school teacher. Principal was never on my list. And then as time went on, of course, took the national examination, the West African examination, passed it, the school exam, passed it. And so among my classmates, I happened to be the only female, and so that's how come I became the first female to graduate from high school at Ricks Institute.
Wow. So which college you went to?
After that, I went to Cotton.
Wow, you're like a graduate?
Not a graduate. I stayed there 2 years, and because I've already had some means of coming to the United States, I went back to Ricks Institute, taught in the 60s, and then was able to get the money and everything else to travel, as my sister had already made way for me, my sister Martin, and came over, got my bachelor's, finished up, and my master's degree in English and education.
So which college did you attend?
San Francisco State University.
Oh, so you went to California?
Yes.
Okay.
After completion, there was an urge to go back home, which is Liberia. And when I wrote to say I was coming, I wanted to come back, but I wanted to make sure I had a job before leaving the States. And I got a response. And the response came from Dr. Torber, which he was the president at that time of the Liberia Baptist Convention.
That's William R. Torber, former president.
Exactly so, and he was also president. So his reply was, I had a choice to go to Ricks Institute or to become an assistant minister at Minister of Education. And my reply was, thank you very much, but I want to come back to my alma mater to render my services. Because I already had served there, I've already taught before, and not only that, but that's my passion, that's what I want to be. And we're always taught, not for self, but for others. And that's how I went back to the Ricks Institute. Taught, was chairperson of the language arts department, and also later on, the junior college was established. And one thing that my fellow alumni didn't mention, that also was a business school, that is equivalent to a junior college as well at Ricks Institute. And so upon that background, I already had a teaching experience, already chairperson of, and also VP, as a matter of fact, assistant principal. So electing me to be the principal and president of Ricks Institute Junior College, it was no problem because the preparation was already there. I already had experience. And so that's the opportunity came for me. On December 12th, 1979, that's when I was elected by the Liberia Baptist Missionary Education Convention to become the principal and president of Ricks Institute. I guess it's a little bit confusing because principal is grade kindergarten to 12, and president for the junior college, which is equivalent to community college as we call it here in the United States.
So, as a veteran educator,
Yes.
what would you say were some of the unique problems in our educational system back then, especially during the turbulent era, coming towards the coup and the difference in the system?
Actually, before the coup, when one graduated from Ricks, not necessarily Ricks Institute, but from high school in Liberia, when you came over to the United States, you already, was like almost like a junior college graduate. It was sound education, educated in every respect. As we say, not just the book learning, but the moral discipline that went along and respect. Of course, those days, we had to do the Terretta and all that stuff with no computer. You had to go in the library or just sit in someplace and read, and you had to read and to learn the difference of certain things. And so, but because of that change in Liberia, a lot of things took place, and that education system is one of the things that went backwards. And so students that came over after the coup, and even especially the Civil War, the background is well below. But education as a whole, not just in Liberia, but all over, has changed so much now that students, because they can go online and they don't have to take a book and read and go on the computer, and they think that's it. So I always welcome that whole time back.
So have you been back to Liberia lately?
No. I have not been back to Liberia since I came back 1991. And because, see, it's been a very hard thing just doing that, going back, having suffered from the 1980 coup. That too I went to. I was arrested in my office to Dole's government. Then the coup, I was bitterly brutalized, persecuted, and I still go through traumas, PTSD, and all of that. As Deacon Paulus explained, that we had to walk. He was in that base from Ricks Institute, the bone mines, which was up 75 or 100 miles. And then I often say eventually to the Ivory Coast, because after some days or some time, we took joining, and then was refugees in the Ivory Coast, and then later on to the United States. So I have not had that going back to Liberia because
the trauma.
Yes. So, but I came and San Francisco, then I came back here again. And I've taught in the school system. I taught in San Francisco, and then when I moved to Rhode Island, I also taught in the Providence school system and in the private sectors, like in literacy, helping people with the GED, the adult literacy, and with Job Corps, in the Job Corps system as well. And I was forced into retirement due to medical reason. I got sick immediately in the classroom one day that I could not walk. I was wheeled out of the chair, out of the classroom, in a wheelchair. Not wheeled because of inability not to do my job, but inability, the physical condition that came on me all at once. That caused me, which was January 14, 2010. And so that forced me into retirement. And even though I was nearing it, of course, since then, of course, I've reached a long time.
I know there's no real comparison, but during your days of teaching,
Yes.
how would you compare the Liberian system to the American system today?
I still would say, I said earlier, that the Liberian system during those days was very advanced. Why am I saying that? Because instructors that we had then, they too had come over here to the United States or even Europe. Those days, some people went to London to study. So we had not only Europe and America, but even our African countries. We also had instructors from those. So we have an international staff that really give students the basics for everything that was needed in every respect. And in Liberia, and when you measuring not measuring, but you have to take all the sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, as we know here, you just take one of those sciences, but you have to take all of those sciences in high school, like 8 subjects or something like that. That as I can remember, it was a hard thing, but we did it, and the students did it, and that was carried some of us along today.
Now that your old school students are honoring you, they have decided to come together and recognize you for their accomplishment and contributions. How do you feel about that?
I feel very happy, but at the same time, when you are doing something, you're not looking forward to this particular day. You just do something, but yet somebody is looking at you, watching you, and you don't know. You see? And I'm happy that I am there to see this time to be part of this celebration and don't be around when celebration of this nature is going on, telling all that I did. So this is one thing that I'm grateful that I live to see such that will be held, even though we have maybe 2 or 3 weeks ahead, but yet we hope that will be materialized. And even if it did not materialize that day, the fact is that they planned and this is what's happening. And so I'm very, very, very full of gratitude for that, and I accept it with humility to that respect.
That's good. So what would you like to see in Liberia, happen in Liberia tomorrow?
A lot of changes for us to get away from our old ways of doing things. Some things that are old, you have to keep carrying on, but we cannot keep saying, this is our culture, so we have to let it stay this way. Time factor, we procrastinate, we don't get to places on time, and besides that, we need to still do without this nepotism, giving jobs to people only because of relationship. I will also like to see the same corruption that most of the leaders were killed for, that is still continuing, and so they're so bold about it. I know things won't happen overnight, but if we want improvement and we want other countries to help us, we have to make sure that we do all some of these areas that will hinder the progress for the future generation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mana. We want to congratulate you, and we also join the Alumni Association of Ricks Institute in extending a hearty congratulations to you for your services to the Liberian people. and may God bless you.
Thank you very much. And I want to say not only the Liberian people, because Ricks Institute was like an international.
Yep.
Students came from all over. And
Well, you see, with me when I say Liberia,
I understand.
Liberia was the first
Yes,
Negro republic in the world.
exactly so.
It's the home of all black people.
Yes,
So when you say Liberia, you
right.
not only refer, that's why I tell my people,
Uh-huh.
we are more than a country.
Yes,
We are a philosophy. Liberia was founded in America before the people left here to go to Liberia.
of course.
So I want to thank you very much again.
Okay, and I want to say thank you and congratulations too for what you are doing. Very important to you and your team. I congratulate you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have had the privilege of interviewing Ms. Johnetta R, who was the Principal and President of Ricks Institute in Liberia and Ricks Junior College. She is currently living in Rhode Island, and the members of the Ricks Institute Alumni Association in the Americas are planning to honor her in November on the 14th at the West Valley Inn, 4 Blossom Street, West Warwick. We encourage all members of the Liberian community to please show up in full to honor this patriot and give her flowers while she is alive. We invite our African American communities and the whole Rhode Island community because she is a servant of this community as well. We thank you and we look forward to serving you continuously. Have a good day. This is a special message to the youth of Liberia. Rise up, my children. Rise up from your sleep. Rise up from your stupor. Your future is here. Build Liberia. Stop corruption. Stop nepotism. Stop tribalism. Your future is here.